paralysis.
What is that?
It's like you're asleep, and then like the middle of the night, basically your mind wakes up, but your body's still asleep. So like you wake up, but nothing can move.
Wait,
Can't speak.
what?
Nothing.
Hello everyone and welcome to Social Heart. Today I'm back with another episode on the celebrities and mental health series. You don't have to watch the Kardashians, you don't have to love them in order for you to know who they are. I think everyone in the world kind of knows who the Kardashians are. And if you don't, then I don't know, maybe you haven't been on the internet in years or something like that. In today's continuation of my celebrities and mental health series, I'm going to be talking about Kendall Jenner and her experience with anxiety. I remember the first time I heard of Kendall Jenner having anxiety was back when I was a teenager, and I remember seeing this scene of her. She was on a plane, she was having an anxiety attack, and she was calling her mom. I've never really been a big follower or watcher of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but my mother was, and I remember seeing this scene. Sometimes they'll put like adverts on it on TV. When I heard about her having anxiety, it was really surprising to me. I was like, how the hell is she modeling in front of like hundreds of people and she has anxiety? Like, how does she do that? I just remember thinking that, and in my head I was like, wow, could I also push through some of the symptoms that I have to do something like she is doing? Now, I know that the Kardashians have kind of a bad reputation, and they're not necessarily a family that someone can say that they want to look up to. But I think, as we all know, Kendall is quite different from the rest of her family. She has made a name for herself in the modeling industry. I'm not here to talk about how she got there, but the fact is that she is a good model. You can't take that away from her. And she's doing that while she is facing anxiety and panic attacks and having moments where she's literally feeling like she's dying. I personally feel like that's something to look up to as someone who actually has anxiety too. I look up to that and I say, how is she doing that? And I wonder what I can also achieve even though I am having some of these symptoms. A fun fact about Kendall is that she was actually the first person that I wanted to talk about when I was starting this series. Even before I started this channel, I knew that I wanted to make a topic on her, but it's taken me so long to get to it. I had to do Taraji first because Kendall has done so many interviews and it's been so much to watch through. I'm so sorry, I don't know, the sun is just doing its thing today. It's like really shining bright at some moments and then it's like going away at other moments. I think it's gonna rain. Recently, Kendall sat down with Jay Shetty, and now there is new information and more in-depth information about her experience and her journey and where she is now. And I'm so happy she did this podcast because I love Jay Shetty. Please go and check out Jay Shetty's podcast and his interview with Kendall because there's so many gems in that podcast. Things that Jay Shetty also said that are really helpful, and I just cannot include all these things into this episode. I don't want it to be too long and boring. I just want to keep it short and get straight to the point. More recently, Kendall sat down with Jay Shetty and she discussed about how she found out that being true to yourself and listening to her needs above everything else has brought her so much joy. Kendall talks about how she was the organized child of her family. She loved to keep a schedule and to have something to do. Unlike her sister Kylie, who likes to go out, Kendall would normally spend weekends by herself. Kendall is introverted by nature and she liked to be alone most of the time. One of her first jobs when she was younger was being a dog walker. It was just an amazing opportunity because one, she doesn't really have to be around people, and secondly, she loves animals so much. Over the years, Kendall has become more social. She is now living a life that involves being around people all day. Although she does tell Jay that at the end of the day, her old habits are still around. She still enjoys journaling, relaxing by herself, or spending time with her horses. Kendall says she is proud of where she is now. However, it took a lot of hard work and determination to achieve the status she enjoys today. She says she began this journey that she has been on when she was 14 years old. Kendall really takes pride in her self-improvement. She was enjoying her job so much that she kept on taking more and more projects to the point where it was too much and she was becoming unhappy. When she was 23 years old, she decided that she wanted to start setting boundaries. She learned to prioritize herself, her well-being, and her happiness. She says, "It has done wonders for me. I feel like I can show up better for myself and I can show up a better person for the people that get to be around me that day. Having a healthy balance is important for Kendall. She decided that she wasn't gonna take on projects that are too much for her so that she can instead focus on being happy. Now she's able to enjoy her work even more and it doesn't overwhelm her. Having reduced the amount of work that she's able to do, Kendall has been able to do other things that make her happy and she has been able to reconnect with herself. Even something as simple as attending a friend's birthday party, because these are things that she would not have been able to do back then. When COVID-19 hit, Kendall actually had more time to sit with herself and remember the things that actually do make her happy, and she tried to do more of those things that do make her happy. She also got herself a horse that she has now. Like I said, Kendall has always loved animals, especially horses, so now she has one that she can ride by herself, and I'm sure this must be really therapeutic for her. Kendall says to Jay, "If your happiness depends on the actions of others, you are at the mercy of things that you cannot control." Kendall believes that finding happiness within ourselves in today's world is challenging, especially with social media and its high impact on younger generations. Sticking to your own version of joy takes a strong will. Kendall defines her state of happiness as her higher goddess or her higher self. She decided to stick to her joy and not let anyone affect it. In this way, she remains true to herself. In her journey of pursuing happiness, Kendall has learned to be kind to herself. She uses meditation and affirmations to remind herself about her strengths and her qualities. To everyone around the world, it is very hard to hear untrue words about yourself, but I'm sure, as you know, celebrities have it so much worse than we do. When you have so many rumors going around, it can really negatively affect a person so much. And I can only imagine what this can do to someone who is already suffering from anxiety. And then these people are out here and they're just like talking about you so much, just spreading false narratives about you. But Kendall knows that at the end of the day, these people that are spreading these rumors and this gossip, they don't really know who she is on the inside. So to help to curb this, Kendall often tries to remind herself who she really is, and it is just essential to her that her family, her close friends, the people that actually matter to her know who she really is on the inside. Kendall shared with Jay that although initially she was eager to work and build a career, she is now more focused on herself. She is excited to get older and learn more about herself and the path that she wants to follow. She strongly believes there is a reason we live our lives in this form. Tuning into a higher goddess, which is a great version of herself, is currently her primary purpose. One thing from this interview that really stood out for me is when Kendall was talking about how she's working with a therapist to heal her inner child. I really resonate with this inner child theory. I remember I was earlier this year listening to this therapist on YouTube, and I think it was one of the few times that the inner child theory really was introduced to me, and it really stuck with me. When I first watched that video, oh my gosh, I cried. So when she was talking about this, I could really understand. I really could get what she was talking about. Kendall says that an exercise that she practices is that she takes like a picture of her when she was younger and she pastes this on her mirror. The reason why she does this is because oftentimes we are harsh to ourselves. We say such mean things to ourselves. Like most of the times we are our worst critic and enemy. So she does this. So when she goes to the mirror and she can see herself in the corner of the mirror staring back at her, there's a bit of an attitude shift. She looks into the eyes of the child in the mirror and she realizes that everything that she's telling herself, she is telling to the child as well. She says that this exercise can help you remember where you came from and to be kind to yourself just like you are kind to other people. I really like the idea of this exercise. I feel like I'm also gonna try it because it's so true. Oftentimes, like we say things to ourselves that you would never tell your friend, you would never tell a child, and we forget that we are fragile too, and we should be kind to ourselves as well. So I really love the sound of this exercise, and I think if you're in a habit of being mean to yourself, then you should try this exercise. I really think it's cool. Like I said, Kendall Jenner has actually done a lot of speaking on mental health and anxiety. Another project that she did was a 4-part series with Vogue, and it's on YouTube. You can watch it. I think it's such a really cool series because in each episode or series, I don't know what to call it because there are 4 episodes, but she calls each one a season. It's like season 1, season 2, season 3. I don't know. So don't get confused. It's not like it's season 1 and then there are multiple episodes in season 1. It's just like one video about like 10 minutes or so long. It's really good information because she sits down in each different season and she's talking with a different professional in the mental health field, like a therapist, psychologist, that type of stuff. I can't remember each of their professions, but they're all professionals. She's got a season on anxiety, a season on planning, a season on panic attacks, and a season on social media addiction. My favorite season was the first one. I think the professional in that episode, she just had a lot of cool knowledge to give out that I think really resonated with myself. In this 4-part series, Kendall really lets us into her life and she gets really personal, letting us know about the struggles that she does face and the symptoms that she does face as someone who is struggling with anxiety. She tells us about the times when she's been having like heart palpitations, like really bad to the extent where she feels like she's gonna die and she has to be rushed to the hospital. Like this is some next level panic attacks that I cannot relate to, but I'm sure that a lot of people out there, they do feel this way. Actually, just recently in China, there was a lady from South Africa, an international, who was living in China and she just passed away from a panic attack type of thing. Well, that's what they said, because she was rushed to the hospital because she was having like a panic attack. So these things, they do happen and it is serious. I know that maybe coming from a celebrity it sounds silly, but guys, just listen to it with an open mind, okay? She also talks about the times when she feels like she cannot get out of bed. She just doesn't want to deal. She just want to stay in bed because she's having like a really bad day. And I think it's a bit of a blessing and a curse because she has a mother there to be like, Kendall, you have to like go to work because she is a manager. I guess the part where it does come into being a curse is because her mother is saying this because she doesn't really have anxiety, so she doesn't understand it. It's like, it's one of those things where you have to have anxiety or you have to have depression or you have to have a mental illness for you to understand exactly what the other person is going through. It was the same thing with Taraji when she was in quarantine. She was talking about how she didn't want to get out of bed. It took her like waking up with a Cheeto on her face or something, if I'm not mistaken. That was when she was like, girl, you need to snap out of this. So there are days like that, and I'm just so happy for her that she does have a mother. I have such respect for the Kardashians' mother, honestly. I don't know if they would be where they are without her. She is like a boss lady. She's a, what is it? She's a boss manager or whatever it is that you want to call her. For a woman who is really like helping her children to do what they want to do, she's like the poster lady of that. She's amazing at that. Kendall also does touch on that she does realize that she is living a privileged life. I mean, she has like no financial problems. She has such a big family that loves her. She's working on runways in different countries around the world. I'm talking Paris, I'm talking, I don't know where exactly she's working, but she's out there working for those big brands. And that's glamour. Like, people dream to be living this kind of life. Like, she is truly privileged and she acknowledges this in these seasons. But she also does say that even though she is privileged, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have one of those things up there. She does have a brain, and illnesses, mental illnesses, even other health conditions, I think we all know that it does not skip the rich people, okay? Nothing skips you because you're rich. Anyone is able to suffer from anything. Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you don't have problems too. There's a reason why people say more money, more problems. The rich got problems too, okay? So yeah, she's saying that she does understand that a lot of people are gonna come for her being like, yo, what are you even talking about? Why are you complaining? You got money, you got all this, there's no need for you to like complain about that. But I don't think she is complaining. I think we should cut her some slack, because at the end of the day, we need people like this to speak out so that little girls, just like the way I was when I was like 13 or something, can look up at her and say, oh my gosh, I'm going through this too. And you're doing this, you're feeling what I'm feeling, and you're able to do this. Maybe I can also push through my own setbacks and my own struggles to also become something great. The reason why I really like the first episode is because the doctor really gave some really good advice. She says that for people that are dealing with anxiety, a good way to curb that is to stay prepared. And this is something that I strongly believe in, and something that I've also been implicating in my life for the last couple of years. Let's say if you're going to an interview and you're really scared about it, you really need to feel that anxiety with knowledge. You need to read up, you need to research, and once you're prepared, that anxiety really goes down like a lot. It's not just about exams or interviews. Even if you're going to a party, if you're going to a party and you don't know who's gonna be there, you don't know how many people are gonna be there, I think it's really good to ask someone. I do this all the time. I'm like, okay, how many people are gonna be there and who's gonna be there? So before I even go to the party, I'm already talking to myself. I'm like, okay, I'm talking myself through it. I'm giving myself scenarios on what to expect and how to act in certain situations. And if I do know which people are gonna be there, I'm like, okay, I know I can talk to this person, this person, this person, you know. Instead of you just going to a party and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone here, and it makes you like so anxious. This is great advice. Stay prepared if you're anxious about something. It's so funny. I was telling my friend about there was a time when I was doing something in the morning every day. I had to be there like around 7 or 6, and my friend was laughing at me because I was telling her that I need to wake up at like 5. I need to wake up at like 5 or 4 because I need to sit down and I need to have my breakfast and I need to be calm. Let's say if I need to be somewhere at 7 and I wake up at 6, that is not enough time for me to get ready and have my mind settled. The moment I leave my house in a rush, that is the day I'm gonna lose my key. I'm gonna forget my phone. I'm gonna anything. Like, that's the moment when I do the most stupidest things. Is because like my heart is racing and I'm just not ready, I'm not prepared. So I really advise you, like, you should do is give enough time for you to be prepared. Even if you're going for an interview, go really early. Don't go rushing to the door. Then when you sit down, you're like, you know, you should go really early, sit down in the waiting room or whatever it is, and just be calm. It really, really helps. Trust me, I've been using this for years. Anytime that I don't use it, I always regret it. I'm like, you know that you should have gotten up like 30 minutes earlier if you didn't want to be feeling like this today. Another thing that the doctor talked about was body language. Oftentimes, when we are anxious about something, our body follows suit. So, let's say if you go to an event or you go somewhere and you're crossing your arms and you have this RBF face, it lets everyone else know, like, whoa, okay, maybe she doesn't want to talk today. Let me just leave her alone. You know, you're kind of pushing people away with your body language. It's just not inviting. And this is something that I am also guilty of. I'm also guilty about this. Like, I have to stop myself sometimes. And I've also been told this. I had someone, I don't know who it was, but I remember someone would always tell me, like, why are you crossing your arms? Are you not happy or something? Or like, are you upset or something? And I never realized. I had to keep on reminding myself, like, uncross your arms, stop it, like, do something. That's when it gets awkward. It's like, do something else with your arms. But yeah, the more that you do it, the better that you get at it. She talks about uncrossing your arms, sitting up, and smiling. Smiling is such a good note, honestly, for someone who is anxious or someone who's got RBF. I do. When you go to an event and you greet people with a smile, it's really inviting. Just smile at someone and say hi. And honestly, 8 times out of 10, they're gonna be nice to you back. I'm not gonna say all the time they're gonna be nice to you, but most of the time they are gonna be nice to you. I don't know how many people are gonna be like mean to someone who's just smiling at them and saying hi. It's more inviting. Just try it. One thing that I've also realized about the body language thing is that it's a bit of a cycle. Oftentimes, you're really anxious to go to an event and you're really worried, oh my gosh, will these people like me? Will I have someone to talk to? Am I gonna be really awkward? So you cross your arms and just stay in your corner and you're just like by yourself and you're, you know, kind of in your anxious space. And then this body language lets people think, oh, she doesn't look too inviting, I don't know if I want to talk to her. Then no one talks to you, and then it kind of verifies the anxiety that you had in the first place, like, oh, no one wants to talk to me. But maybe you would have talked to someone if you were just more inviting, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a cycle. So these practices, they really do help, let me tell you this. As someone who has anxiety, I can notice people who are also anxious, and I've seen many situations where people's body language is completely off, and just by looking at them I'm like, I wish I could just tell her, like, just relax a bit, relax, it's okay. Because even though I am anxious, I know these practices, they're in my head. When I'm going somewhere, that's why I was like, before I go somewhere I need to talk to myself. So I know that if I'm arriving, I'm like, okay, arms not crossed, smile, say hi to someone, talk to someone, okay? Like, I have them lined up. I have these practices, they're in my head already. And it's the same thing that this doctor was talking about, that you need to remind yourself, uncross your arms, sit up, smile, and say hi, These are things that really do help. Alright then, I really had so much fun doing this episode. Kendall Jenner was someone that I really, really wanted to talk about, and she has so much information, interviews, and all that stuff out there. So please go onto YouTube and go and check out her open-minded series. You can also go and check out her podcast with Jay Shetty. He also drops a lot of gems in there. There's this quote that he put up here, and I love it so much. I've heard it from him before. Take a moment to think about it after you watch this video. Just take it as a little bonus something. I don't know. So yeah, please comment down below if you do relate to any of the things that I was talking about today, and please comment down below any other celebrity that you want me to cover, and let me know your story and how you deal with anxiety. One day I would really like to compile a lot of advice from just normal people, like not celebrities. When I mean normal people, I mean like you and me, people who are not celebrities, and just compile those advice and just put it into a video. I'm not that big of a channel yet, but hopefully one day. I really look forward to doing something like this. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like below. Please share it to people who you think this might be helpful for, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.